whole food diet isn't just for someone who's just trying to eat healthy or just trying to lose a bit of weight. They're really for every walk of life.
Yeah.
You know?
Can you just quickly explain what whole food is?
To me, a whole food is eating a food in its whole state. So, like eating, the way I often would describe it to clients when I talk about whole foods is, if you can go out and pick it from a tree, if it was alive at one stage, to me, I would classify that as a whole food. The same way foods I say wouldn't really classify as a whole food would be, say, breads or pastas. You can't go out and pick bread from a bread tree or pasta from a pasta tree. I know it sounds really silly to say out loud. They have to be processed from one food to create this other food.
Yeah.
For me, whole foods is if I can rock up and pick it off a bush or a tree and I can eat it the way it is, to me that's a whole food.
Okay, cool. So food that's alive.
Food that's alive, yeah.
Okay, excellent.
And not changed from being, one thing
Alive
to another.
and process it up and mix it with all
I
different
like
things.
crisps, They come from potatoes. Potatoes are, I suppose, a whole food.
Yeah.
But to me, once you take it from its potato state, you deep fry it in a hydrogenated fat. I don't classify that as a whole food anymore. I classify that as processed food.
It's killed all the live stuff inside.
Taking everything decent out of it. Yeah. I think it is anyway.
Yeah. Cool. So, what kind of tips would you have for, I suppose, teenagers and I suppose even families in general on creating new habits and setting themselves up to start eating more whole foods?
I think a big thing with any change that you're trying to bring into your lifestyle is to do it in small baby steps. I've worked with so many people in the past who want this all or nothing approach, who want to come in and they just want to completely overhaul their diet all in one sitting and want everything to be different, everything to be changed. Usually people who do that fail. People who throw themselves 100% at a complete overhaul of their diet rarely see success. I'm a massive fan of a slow incremental change. So if you want to get healthy and you want to start forming new habits, I would say pick 1 or 2 vegetables, start out and just incorporate those into your diet on a weekly basis. Do that for a week or 2. Then pick something else, be it drink more water. You might aim to drink an extra litre of water a day. Okay, do that for maybe 1 or 2 weeks. Now you've got 2 habits done in a month. You're eating more veggies and you're drinking more water. The next month might be, okay, for the first 2 weeks of that month, I might want to reduce down my, fizzy drink intake. So you might cut out a can of soda a day. The next 2 weeks, you might increase your lean protein a little bit. So after 2 months, you're eating more vegetables, eating more protein, you're getting hydrated, and you're reducing down sugar from a fizzy drink. I don't think there's anything wrong with taking that long period of time to form these habits that will stick with you forever.
Yeah.
And that's the point I try to drive to most of my clients is you have your entire life to get your nutrition right. It doesn't need to be right overnight at the snap of a finger. We need to be 100% healthier. I don't believe you do. I think do that slow incremental change. Pick 1 or 2 things that's in your control to do consistently and to do it very, very well so that you can do it forever. And that's usually where I am with the kind of habit change. And that's where I started out myself. Yeah. I cut out that Subway. Gave it a while. I took up a little bit of running. Gave it a while. Start drinking more water. And all those habits are still with me today. Yeah. Like nearly 10 years of habit building now. But I still do them every single day. And that hasn't changed. But I think, if I threw myself into that all or nothing approach, I don't think I would be here doing what I'm doing now because I know I would have failed. I've seen enough clients fail to know that I also would have. Small incremental, I think, is the best way around it.
Okay, excellent. And would you have a couple of examples of breakfast, lunch, dinner ideas that people could start to eat, I suppose, especially for teenagers as well?
Yeah. I suppose teenagers are notoriously fussy for food.
Yeah.
I've worked with quite a few to know that they can be a little bit on the fussier side of things, but that doesn't mean that you can't also eat healthy. So an easy one for me, any kids or teenagers I've worked with, they all love pancakes.
Yeah.
But we know pancakes is odd lumps flour, loads of milk, maybe an egg, loads of sugar, again made from kind of processed food with some whole foods like your egg inside of it. But like an easy one could just be some protein pancakes. You could get 2 eggs, a banana, maybe some Greek yogurt, you know, if you wanted to chuck in maybe some chocolate protein powder for that kind of chocolate hit for teenagers who
Cacao
like
or
it.
something like that.
Or some people even use cacao raw, which is kind of like a raw chocolate. Blitz it up, throw it in the pan. I mean, you're essentially eating pancakes for breakfast, but they're made from actual food rather than processed nutrients. So pancakes are always an easy sell. I mean, I still eat those myself, but again, I make them from kind of scratch, you know, with like real food. Omelets are usually an easy one, you know. Most kids will eat eggs, so omelets, find the veg that they like and chuck it in. I'd often get inspiration actually from watching the likes of Joe Wicks and Instagram videos where you'd see people making these like breakfast muffins from like porridge oats, you know, which is classified as a complex carb, can give you good steady energy. I think brekkie muffins are an easy one, especially for school time where your teenagers are probably not going to want to get out of bed very early and will probably roll out of bed and throw on uniform and go. If you make some breakfast muffins, do them like batch by batch, have them in the fridge, you can grab them and just leave the house with them. I'm happy to share some recipes that you might maybe throw up with the video that parents could try out.
That'd be brilliant.
I think keeping it simple and keeping it basic is the main thing. A lot of people try to like make their nutrition like very fancy, you know, and spend hours cooking, and no one wants to be in the kitchen like all morning putting together a breakfast. And just because you spend hours cooking, it doesn't mean it's going to be healthy. The healthiest meals I put together could be, you know, 5-10 minutes in the kitchen and I'm done. You know, if you're using whole foods and real ingredients, you know, you don't need to be stuck there forever. You know, you can make really basic recipes quite simply, you know. So I think keeping it simple, keeping it fast, especially for kids, they're not going to want to be hanging around or getting up early to have breakfast in the morning. So I mean, if you can do a healthy cook batch, great. The same in the evenings when they come home from school, they're probably going to want to be out playing with their buddies, or, you know, some kids will want to play on their games console or whatever hobbies they're into. They're not going to want to hang around the house for an hour or two while dinner's cooking.
Food,
You know, keeping it simple, 15-20 minute job, you know, out the door again.
And I suppose even looking at lunch, I suppose well, for me anyway, personally, when I was in school, I had sandwiches every day. So let's say for people for having sandwiches for lunch, what would kind of be, I suppose, the best bread to go for? Because I think sandwiches is the easiest thing for people to make, and that's kind of the number one go-to for teenagers when they're having a lunch.
It is. And
I suppose if you want to try and make the sandwich a bit healthier, what would be the healthier option?
That's probably like my most asked question is like, what bread is the best bread? Which is what I hear from that is like, I'm not giving up bread, just tell me which one I can have, which is fine. I like bread, I eat bread. For me, I usually go for sourdough. It's a fermented style, so it's good for the gut. Any fermented food is going to be really nourishing to the tummy. It's going to provide either probiotics or prebiotics, depending on which one you go for. The more you can get into your, I suppose, the system, the better it'll enhance your digestion and is really good for immune function. So I like sourdough. Another one that would be, say, low in the glycemic index would be like sprouted wheat breads. They don't taste as nice as sourdough bread. So I think if you were looking to put together a sandwich for your kids' lunchbox, sourdough is probably the closest that you'll get to, say, like real bread, but it's quite low on the glycemic index, so it shouldn't cause too much havoc with their blood sugar levels, which should be, you know, kind of kept intact if you're trying to help with their energy and concentration.
And I suppose even for the lunch as well, they can still bring some of the pancakes with them, or the muffins and stuff like that.
100%. I mean, if you're making like pancakes and muffins with like healthy ingredients, they're not just for breakfast. You could use them as snacks. I recently moved house, and I often do that. Like I would batch make like either healthy cookies or healthy muffins with the house. I'm currently sharing, I made a batch of 12 chocolate muffins recently using that cacao powder you recommended earlier on. Put them in the fridge, and I got 2 out of the 12. And this is the household of people who don't really eat vegetables or fruit, and we're going for the stuff that I had baked. So I mean, they're family members, so again, apologies in advance, but you don't eat very well. My family aren't ones that would be mad for veg or mad for fruit. But they're eating the healthier treats that I'm leaving in the house, you know. So I know they work, and I know people who aren't massive fans of what you would classify as, you know, good food. They will eat them,
still eat them
you
as
know.
well,
but again, I'll share all these recipes with the video. Steve is happy
brilliant.
for me to do it.
That'd be fantastic.
Try them out. They're handy to have in the cupboard. It'll stop you from going for like the biscuits and your sweets and all that kind of carry on, you know.
And then I suppose the same for the dinners then as well. It's leaning towards the whole foods.
Yeah,
and
very
looking for
much
dinners.
so. I try to keep my dinners like a lean piece of protein. I am a meat eater, so it could be something like chicken or turkey. A couple of nights a week, I might have some fish. Common ones on my plate would be some sweet potato for some good carbohydrate. Might have whatever veg is kind of going. I tend to do like an Aldi or Dunnes trip where they have like the Super Six deals where you can get like 6 fruits and veggies that will be reduced down to whatever 70 cent or whatever they have on. I normally do a trip once or twice a month and just stockpile all that. So my fridge and my freezer to an extent will just be full of it. So it's easy, it's there, and it's just all good food. But I try to get a balance of proteins, some good carbohydrate, and some good quality fats on the plate to kind of really round off that I'm getting all 3 macros on my plate in good levels,
And so, like, eating healthy doesn't have to be expensive.
Oh God, no.
Not at all.
No.
As long as you're willing to actually go out and look for the stuff and prepare it properly.
Yeah. Like I bring my lunches to work every week. Monday and Tuesday I had salmon. Wednesday I had some steak mince, and yesterday I had some chicken. Every day the veg part was kept the same, so I had either sweet potato or maybe a little bit of regular potato, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, broccoli, carrots. So I bought the majority of those on one of those like Super Six deals in Aldi. I'd say all in my lunches for the week probably only cost me about €12. There's a canteen in work, and the guys who are on my team were probably spending the bones of €7 or €8 a day, and their food coming down. While it's not the worst thing in the world, it might be like a pulled pork burger or a regular burger or a chicken burger, and it was just chips. Again, nothing wrong with it. We all like that every now and then, but like they were probably after spending 30, 35 euros maybe throughout the week on lunches to get processed food. I had all mine all in for about 12, 13 euros, and I work nights. I don't finish until 2:30, but like it keeps me chugging along all night. You get good sustained energy from good quality food. It'll keep you going. Whereas, processed food and junk food, you'll just slump and your energy is going to hit the ground. You'll get cranky and you'll just be looking for something to kind of bring you back up, So it doesn't have to be expensive. I never spend massive money on my food. I look for who does the best deals on what vegetables, who does the best deals on, good quality free range meat, and I just base it off of that,
Okay, cool.